I know Julie's not.
Don't need them.
Julie's not coming. Okay. How are you, by the way?
I am fine. How are you?
Good. Good.
Good.
Here.
Me too. Fancy water bottle.
A client gave it to me in a meeting together with a 6 cans of spaghetti sauce. I have no idea why.
6 cans of spaghetti sauce?
Correct. He apparently had, his neighbor had apparently lifted an entire pallet and he was giving it away to all the neighbors. And I was there for something unrelated and he gave me 6, jars. And he works for this company, so he gave me that too. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Wow.
I've had
That's
somebody
an
offer me, like-
unusual gift.
I've had people offer me like dead rabbits, like they're Portuguese and they raise them in the backyard. I've had chicken.
For dinner?
Yeah. What's it? What? We don't need to be discussing this on.
Dead rabbits and...
All right, moving on.
Never mind.
All right, are we ready, Charlie?
Yep.
All right.
I make a motion that we open the meeting of the, should I call it the Board of Conservation, or Conservation Commission, since we're up on the, there is that, at 7:02. On January 9th, 2019.
There you go. Number, I'm not sure I like this.
Yeah, it's 1919. Oh, don't do that. I can't take credit for it.
Did somebody second? You did?
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
Terry
ours
did.
is done.
Oh, that's a tough
We're about to
crowd.
adjourn.
It's a tough crowd. It is. Let's go. Oh, Bill's here. Bill's here.
He's not, just
Yeah,
like your
by a
neighbor,
minute.
He was held up in Groveland traffic.
Waiting for that new stoplight.
Oh, don't put me in order, please.
All right.
Center Street thing.
Everybody has a copy of the agenda. We have 3 hearings tonight, which we will proceed with at 7:30. And we might be able to cover all the other material between now and
Where would you like to start?
then. Well,
How about-
German?
minutes. We don't have any from last month because I believe that we had some changes to them already, and Julie's
Gone.
on vacation,
I
so.
I sent it to everybody, right? Comments.
I move that we postpone
Second.
reviewing the minutes until next meeting.
Yes. We don't need to vote on it.
Okay.
I just wanted to say it.
All right. So, let's see, let's first talk about old business. Let's see, first of all, I wanted to mention that the final report for the Johnson Creek watershed that we requested is expected this middle of February. It's from Cameron Engineering, and that discusses water quality, flow control, flow issues at the pond and creek, and
Can
the
you
number
mind?
of ponds along the way.
Oh,
So, I think that once I get it, we should review it together and maybe have a site visit.
wanna grab
Look
a
at some
chair?
of the things.
You can sit right there if you want.
Oh, it's coming over.
Okay.
He likes to send better.
Hi,
You
Fred.
could have taken a nice chair if you wanted.
That's all right. I'm not used to sitting anyway. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Woof.
I got one here. There you go.
Okay, so we should be getting that report, and I guess the question I have is, do we want to have somebody from Cam engineering come and talk to us, give us an overview of this, perhaps in our March meeting.
At the meeting or at a sidewalk?
No, at the meeting. Or we could do it, or we could just have somebody come with us and do a site walk, or we could have both done.
It's gonna cost the town
Yeah,
money, or is
it's
it
gonna cost money, but I believe there's still some money in that project to be able to pay for some of it, and I think we also could probably pay for some of it out of our budget.
I'm gonna suggest we take a look at it, review it, and then ask that somebody accompany us in the sidewalk. I think that makes the most sense.
Okay,
Value for money.
all right.
Does that need to be motioned, or?
No, I'm just telling you, you know, an update. It's gonna be a little slow, cause I'm
We have
gonna
started
write
meeting.
these things
We're
down.
gonna start looking at this, yes.
So we
How's
want
hubby doing?
Camet on the, site visit after we review it, right?
Are we gonna do the site visit before the March meeting, or?
No, it'll be sometime in late March, early April.
It makes sense as the weather gets better.
Right. Okay. All right, so as soon as I get it, it's gonna be a big book, so we may have to take turns with it. Cause it's even too big to get electronically.
All right.
Required reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
The next old business item is the certificate of compliance for the Seoul Street project. So as you know, at least those who were there know, we did a site visit on Saturday, the 29th of January, and December, and it was a sunny, dry day, and we observed a few things, but the things that I've got on the report are we observed markers at the 25-foot buffer, several of them. The retention pond was clear and less depth to it. And we thought that there should be more hay bales at the entrance to the inlet, where some of them are rotting away. And let's see. Oh, okay, and we need to decide if we want flock logs, I believe, put in the outlet
Oh.
pipe of the pond.
Did somebody research that?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Here's,
My timing is incredible. Thank
take
you.
a quick look at that.
There's like in the bottom of the pond, there's like a big, circular thing that vents out into it. But we were trying to figure out, he would mention being able to drop these into it as a way of monitoring the leaching out of materials.
Oh.
So,
Well, what those do is they collect the material.
yeah, to see what's going through it.
I don't know that they monitor it, it's more just
It's a matter
to
of filtering.
clarify and filter the water
Yeah.
that's going out. And I think pretty much before we could issue the COC, we need to just take, probably Rosemary and I need to take a look at the order of condition again, just to cover our bases, to make sure we are happy with everything. But generally.
Well, I think we were concerned that there was still gonna be quite a bit of work that might affect this particular aspect.
Oh, yes,
Um,
yes.
And we wanted to let it play out a little bit more before we were comfortable accepting it as compliant.
Yep, yep,
Because there's just too much, there's a lot going on there still.
right. Now, I see Mr. Daly sitting back there. Can you come and answer just a couple of questions for us, Bill?
Bill Daly, 7 Hemlock Lane.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so, let's see. What questions did you have, Terry?
Well, I didn't have any questions, I just had concerns that there was gonna still be quite a bit going on that,
Sure.
that was gonna, potentially, I mean, it looks so much better. And I wanna thank you for everything you've done,
Thank you.
and the other people involved, but we still don't know what's gonna happen in the next, few weeks, couple months, and I think we'd rather let it play out a little bit and feel more comfortable before we sign off on a certificate of compliance.
How much longer have I been waiting since the middle of October when I sent this in? It's typically not how things work, right? So, I mean, it's usually until and if, right?
But what's it holding up at this point?
It could hold up financing, you know?
Okay, we wanna issue it as soon as possible,
Yeah,
I
I
think.
mean, you just give me the certificate or give me an enforcement order, one or the other. I
Yeah.
don't, you know, I mean,
So, what's the next thing that's gonna take place there? You have that road that goes into the quarry,
yep,
trucks gonna be bringing more stuff in?
yes.
Okay. So, I think what Terry brought up when we were on the site is, how much of that material is gonna be brought in that's gonna be close to the edge of the property, and how are we gonna prevent that from?
It's gotta be months, it's so, I don't know, when you guys walked out back, I didn't go with you, but when you went down that road, all the way in to the right by the cliffs, the steps
quarry
there,
part.
that's all gotta come up first, and that's all 12 to 15 feet lower than,
You're right, that's
so it's
on
not,
the other side.
nothing's gonna come out, cause you go up over that hill first, so even if I did near the property line, which I'm not, that's gonna happen after I get everything level, but, it's gonna be months and months and months before water
That all
starts
gets-
flowing that way,
Yeah,
you know, I mean, the whole place has to come up probably 18 feet in the back and 14 feet once you get over the hill to get the water going that way.
So you're not going all the way to the top of the cliff, you're just lifting it up about 18 feet off
I'm
of
gonna-
where the base
It's gonna go about
is.
halfway up
Okay,
the top cliff.
yep, okay,
And that'll tie in the back.
gotcha.
you know.
So, and the first pond that's nearest to it is gonna disappear?
More than likely, I mean, it's in a
Okay.
terrible spot,
Yep,
you know, more than likely.
okay.
Our other concern was on the left side when we first walked in. I mean, when you do the grading down, I mean, when you get to the property line over there, where is it gonna be at, or how high of a,
Where are we talking?
you're gonna have to, when you're first walking down the road on the left side,
Yep,
where the hay bales are all lined up,
yep.
over there, we were actually kinda wondering, when you finish the project, where was the grade gonna be? Was there gonna be a retention wall put in there?
All down the bottom where the hay bales are, by the
Yeah.
wood pile?
Along the left side there?
That's basically staying the same. That's not changing too much. It might come up a couple feet,
Okay.
but nothing else.
So, how close is the fill going to be to the left side of your roadway going in, just to kind of?
It will continue up off that pond, that slope of that pond on that side will continue up for now, for construction until, obviously next year I'll be filing another notice of intent.
Okay. So your plan, that pond will serve to catch any runoff and silt or anything coming off of the site will go into the pond. So the pond serving that purpose.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And as you guys saw, I had that other pond to kind of take stormwater before it goes into that pond, if I can. And you saw the pond out back where we had all the rock hammered up, I tried to,
Yeah,
if I don't have to send it there, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna send it there, It drains pretty good once it gets into the veins of the bedrock.
You're also sealing off the stuff that's causing the flow too, with
Well, you gotta
claying
get that,
it in.
yeah, that clay, I mean,
It's a
you know, you
nightmare.
guys are right, I mean, the stuff travels through grass, 4, 5, 600 feet, and it doesn't change, so. But once you get that covered up, it changes significantly, so.
I'm saying that's what your intention
Yeah,
is to do
that's what I'm
first,
trying,
is
it's
is
just-
to seal it up, so that.
Weather's hard, and there's a process to this, you know, but the goal would to be to get that whole area, you know, workable to one elevation, and then bring it up, and, because they left like a plateau, what you guys walked down, and it was quite a bit of work that just has to go on in there, so I mean, it's fine if you guys wanna wait another month or two, but I don't think anything's gonna change over there.
What further are you looking, I'm just curious, Terry, what do you want further for him to do before we grant it? I'm just, or what did you have in mind?
Well, I didn't have anything in mind, I was just concerned that subsequent operations would affect the area that we're signing off on.
Right.
But as long as they're covered under the next
Yeah,
phase,
yeah.
then,
And you saw, I had the plug, I mean, if things are bad.
yeah, no, it looks,
We plug it up, and I mean, it's,
yeah,
I just wonder if we can limit, just say, put it as a limiting factor in what we grant, and then if he goes beyond that, then he has to be back here on it. But I'm just trying to think of how we would even limit it.
Yeah,
well, that's where the possibility of an enforcement order,
well, I'd just like to close.
as an alternative.
Let's just close this order out.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and just,
No.
and then we'll go again, you know, if we wanna go back in there.
Clean,
I mean, that makes sense, a certificate of compliance backed up with, an order to inform us of
Yeah.
anything that's gonna have any effect on that.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah, you
where
guys come out anytime you want, man.
Does that sound reasonable, Mike?
yeah. So I think at this point,
We put the hay bales at the,
You
Yeah,
compare
next
that,
day,
yeah.
and if you wanna do the flock logs, just send me an email with Rosemary, know. I'll throw a couple of those in there.
Yeah, that looks like a
All
useful
right.
thing to have, yeah.
so we just,
Especially with the
Rosemary and I
metals.
will review the,
Because they're all left there
orders,
if they're
but
quarried.
I'm pretty sure
On the,
it's not gonna
he's
come up
talking about the first one.
with
If you
anything
go down there,
different
if you go down
than
Not
they
for a
can
while
get
now.
the certificate of compliance ready for signature.
Do you guys still want the
All stuff,
monthly copies of the
chemicals that they
slips?
use when they were doing the mining.
Or you wanna
They
just
used to
keep
call
them
it the
on
lagoon.
site?
I don't know, we'll let you know on that.
And obviously it's a little smaller now, and the one off to the left is nice and clear, but
Right.
if it picks up all the catonic minerals, a couple of those blocks would be ideal.
Okay.
Good, all right,
Thanks.
thank you,
Okay,
thank you.
thanks for
Thank you.
coming.
Yeah. Is that a hearing?
What?
So I think is that hearing?
Is there any other old business, Rosemary?
No, but I can tell you that I went down and marked the trees for 301 Main Street, the ones that she's supposed to take down so he can fix the roof. So I did mark 3 trees there. The brush around the building had already been,
Cleaned up,
yeah, well, it's still there, but
Right,
it's
yeah.
been cut,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
okay.
So, and I
goes
checked
back to-
the silt fence that's right on the banking too, so. But I haven't heard anything else from him.
Thank you for checking.
Why don't we go right into your update for us?
That was pretty much it.
Oh. Well, let's see, I think I do have a couple of questions from our last meeting. Okay, let's see, this was November. It's December.
Oh, the National Grid's 45-year, or, yeah, 45-day plan, if anybody's interested. They just sent that in for their right-of-way vegetation removals. That just came.
Okay, let's see.
Cleaning up the rail trail,
Right.
cleaning up the rail trail.
Yeah, pretty much, it's all the right of ways through the transmission lines. Yeah, part of it's the rail trail, so,
Yeah, it's on the rail trail,
yeah,
actually.
yeah. So,
That was the one they were supposed to make for
Is there
the,
a- Was there any action on the trees at 350 Main Street?
I haven't heard anything, no. So they're probably trying to schedule with, I think they said it was Valley Tree. So I think they're trying to schedule with them, but they have not said that they were taking them down yet. But I can take a ride by.
Yeah, I haven't looked in the last couple of days, but up until a few days ago, they weren't taken down.
Yeah. Well, they said they'd tell us, or Valley Tree would call when they were gonna take them down, so.
Okay, let's see.
Handle that.
And what was the deal with the complaint on,
Rollins,
Rollins, yeah?
you and I were supposed to go out there.
So,
A pipe, the person at 10 Rollins had, this is from the person that owns the property in back. She said that he has a sump pump or a pipe going out dumping water onto her land. So, I said, it's,
Enforcement issue, I think I saw them post that.
so, I figured it sounds more like it's a civil matter, cause it's not jurisdictional, cause it's not conservation land, and
Oh,
it's not,
so
so,
going back to
it's not,
Sewell Street,
it's not wetlands.
what do we think about these
So-
flock
It's
logs? Do we want to have him put them in the pipe to further clean the water?
I think you should put it in while he's still, hasn't sealed up with the clay, the stuff that's causing the problem. After that point that he sealed it up sufficiently, then I think we can remove it, it can't hurt.
Yeah, I'm seeing downside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not really expensive either, so.
I mean, once he's sealed it up, there's not much more we can do, but until that point, I think that's a reasonable accommodation. Do you have a flock log in your house?
Oh, that's the first time I've ever seen them.
There's a lot of blank stares when we were at the thing he was talking about. Like, oh,
What?
something new. It's one of those, we'll get back to you. So,
Yeah, that's right, that's what we said, we'll get back to you on that.
I'm surprised nobody pulled out their phone and started Googling.
All right,
You'd think so.
all right.
I can't
So-
remember where,
Hmm?
but, I saw it posted that might be a police matter. the
What's that?
Rollins.
Really?
Yeah, I'll look again.
It could be. It seems to be potentially a neighbor dispute. We haven't really got too involved in it other than,
Receiving it.
well, and then Rosemary went and did one look at it. And then I figured we can go look at it again, because that was, when did you go look at it, Rosemary?
Oh,
Last-
it was last,
Yeah,
maybe,
June,
yeah, I was
July.
gonna say May or June, I
Yeah,
think it
yeah.
was, yeah.
So we might get a
Wow.
better view of it now,
Yeah, I couldn't see the pipe there when I walked out back,
Yeah.
so.
yeah. So we'll see.
again, not our jurisdiction.
Which one are we talking about?
Rollins, something that, I don't have the.
It was
address.
last last meeting, it came up.
Didn't see that culvert.
That's right, I know it is.
Pipe.
Okay, let's see. We'll start with our hearings in about 2 minutes.
Do you wanna see if everyone's here just for the hearings, or I mean, to make sure that, and see, or see if someone's here for
Yeah,
something
well,
else?
let's see who's here. So, I know that there's folks here for 180 rear Center Street. Is there anyone here for 157 Main Street? No, okay.
114
114,
is right there.
yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Everyone else here is for, rear Center Street?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I just wanna make sure, cause,
Yes, all right, so, I'll read this before we open the hearing time. So, this, as you remember, last time at 157 Main Street, the, 6-house subdivision, we asked for peer review, and, so during the past few weeks, I spoke with Mr. Billis and assured him that we would try to keep the costs down, and we would be specifically looking at the riverfront area, the placement of some of the, markers, and also the effect of the riverfront on the project as a whole. So he agreed, and he brought a check to deposit in escrow, and I was able to hire Mark Jacobs as our wetland scientist to begin the review. So Mark and I went out to the site last Friday and spent a few hours out there, and the wetland scientist for the applicant couldn't be there. So this is what Mark says shortly as I received this from him after our visit. He said, thanks for your time in the office and field this morning during our site walk of the above referenced project. As we discussed, I have some concerns regarding the identification and or depiction of resource areas, and will proceed to arrange a site visit with the applicant's representative so we can review those areas of concern. I will let you know when that site visit will take place. I will not prepare a report of findings before the public hearing on January 9th. So when we begin the hearing portion in a minute, I think what we'll do is make a motion to continue the hearing till February, continue it until February.
Is that a motion?
No, because we're not in that period yet.
Nice try.
So, now that it's 7:30, I will make a motion to open the hearing portion of the meeting.
Second.
Okay, let me just write this down.
this is for all of them, so it's
Yeah,
just so everyone knows. All three of which one is gonna be very short.
who seconded?
Who else?
Terry,
Esteemed Mr.
Terry? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, we're running out of paper. I just need one sheet of blank paper, Terry.
I'm gonna get you two,
Oh, all right.
because that's the kind of guy that I am.
I left it open.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, so, if somebody wants to make a motion to continue the,
I'll move to continue the hearing on 157 Main Street until the February meeting,
February 13th.
February 13th.
Second.
Sure you can get to it. Any discussion?
None at all.
What are we doing? Oh, that's the second one. I just wrote it down.
On this. Just made a motion. Oh, right.
all right,
I s-
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have to abstain because I don't even know what the motion was.
It was to continue
Oh,
157, because the people, they,
I thought we already did that.
well, we.
No, you opened it up to hearing.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
Keep up.
It's a tough crowd.
Who made, I don't know.
I made the motion.
John made the
My
motion.
esteemed colleague to my right seconded it.
Heather seconded.
My esteemed colleague.
All in favor except for Terry, who abstained.
What is there, 6 of the 6? One abstained. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so, why don't we do the,
Sewer.
yes,
Septic.
let's do that first. The,
114.
114 Washington Street. So there's a hearing for 114 Washington Street, Groveland, request for determination of applicability, request for
Yep, that's fine.
determination of applicability, septic system repair. Do we have anything to collect on this one, Rosemary?
Collect.
Yeah, no cards or
Oh, no, because it's RDA,
Okay,
so there's no.
just wanna check. Sometimes we do.
No, you didn't. I just have another plan if
Okay.
you guys
Yeah.
wanna.
Why don't you tell us what's going on?
Okay,
If you wanna share down
Identify
here.
yourself.
I'm Tom Mineta from Thomas Mineta Incorporated, representing Blue Waters Vero LLC, the current owners of the dwelling at 114 Washington Street, which is on the corner of Washington and Mill. We're here tonight for a septic repair. We are, according to Patrick C. Camp, within the riverfront area, which is shown in yellow. The 200-foot setback there is in yellow on the plan.
Might give you a better idea of how where it's,
Oh, okay.
I printed that from my map, just so you can kinda get a better idea
Oh,
of
the,
where
north,
how
yeah.
it's located.
So the blue is the house and the green is the proposed septic system. Currently, the septic tank is in the garage, and there's 2 leaching pits.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
actually like-
see,
It goes like
yeah,
that.
there you go.
Yeah.
I get it.
So that roadway really isn't in, as you can see, isn't in the roadway, it's
It's, yeah.
cuts through the lot here.
So the closest portion is how far from the riverfront?
It's about 130 feet to the grading point. And that's, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So if you're looking at this map, it's tilted this way. This is the property, and then there's the garage here. Isn't showing on here, but the septic is
Right.
underneath the garage
Yeah,
apparently.
the tank is set in the garage floor.
How did they do that?
I'm guessing the tank was there and they built the garage over it.
Yeah, just put the tank in.
That's an interesting permit.
Yeah, there's not much on file, but there's 2 leaching pits, one under the deck and one beside the driveway.
You guys wanna see the,
Nope, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah. Still needs a septic system, right?
It sure does.
So what are you gonna do? You're repairing it.
It'll be a whole new system,
Oh,
yeah,
whole
new
new
tank,
system.
coming out the side of the dwelling and.
Creating a leach bed that's down here, that's farther in, and this is, I assume, where the 139 that you're talking about is
Correct,
over
yeah.
here. So this is the 200
Yeah.
foot line, so he's creating this, and then, don't you have to have like a secondary?
Not under repair,
Okay.
so that's just a primary system.
Okay.
So it'll come out of the dwelling here into a 1,500 gallon tank
Yep,
into the
okay.
leach field, yeah.
And it's pretty flat around there.
Yeah, it is, it's not bad at all. They- You
That
know,
leach
it goes
that-
up to the street a little bit where the
Yeah.
tank is, but the rear parcel.
But that's outside of the 200 feet.
Right, where the leach field is fairly flat.
Yeah. Hay bales, silt fence, motion to,
You tell
Approve.
me,
Mhm.
what are you asking for?
hay bales and silt fence
Where?
Or,
at the, just outside
Or
of the,
silt sock.
Like about that 94 contour. Is that the same as yours?
Yeah,
Yep,
yep,
All the dirt
Yeah,
it's
going.
right here.
what?
All the dirt going.
So just extending maybe 15 feet on either side.
okay.
I'm
Yeah,
just-
I mean, the lot is, it
It
is
is flat.
encompassed by a fence as well, there's stockade fence around it, that's that, but, yeah, we can definitely
I mean,
put that in.
this is
Yeah, not a big deal.
belt and suspenders.
Yep.
Can I ask a question? Is
Sure.
it possible to put this somewhere
It
outside of the
it won't,
200?
it won't fit.
Okay, that's, it's a
Yeah.
question of,
You got
Reality.
setbacks.
You get setback issues,
Okay.
grading issues, yeah.
okay, that's, I'm only asking the
Yeah,
question.
absolutely.
Where would you like the septic to go?
Way up here.
Well,
You got
that's
somebody
the problem
else's
with taking advantage of
lot.
it.
Yeah.
Put it back into the
Yeah,
garage.
put it under the
What's
garage.
the, what's the
Get rid of it.
total distance of the silt sock?
You go, 15 feet on
He wants
either
the silt
side
fence
of
here.
the,
Down here, 'cause this is.
limit of excavation. So it's like 5,
There's no
6.
removal of trees or what's, that's,
There's
No,
not,
what's that?
no, there's
Okay.
this one big tree right here that'll stay,
okay,
just overgrown lawn right now.
okay.
So I have to get greener.
So 30-foot
You
sock,
trucking out most of the dirt?
Well, how wide is this?
Right.
Well, he's not off by much.
No, I don't even-
Hmm?
So what we can do is
Oh,
we
no,
can
30
actually.
30 plus the width of the,
Right.
yeah. You can do the math, right?
Yep,
This is
Wanna say-
okay.
I understand what
What's
you
it?
mean.
I mean, they dumping the dirt or they trucking it out?
They'll be trucking it out, there is, we
Yeah, it's
actually
in limited
get,
space with the fence.
glass, believe it or not, you know, there were, for years dumping, probably we had 10 feet of glass bottles. And
Excellent.
the neighbor said, when they dug, they hit China, so.
Literally or
The
figuratively?
country of
Literally,
property.
yeah.
That's some farmer's dump.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Often they'll break 'em.
And you can do the work without going farther in?
Absolutely, yeah, we'll be tying right into that grading point right there.
Okay.
The,
Yep.
material science is a lot better than it used to be. No, I think the property is,
So you're returning this area to the original grade?
It'll be raised, it'll be flat, what it is, it slopes a little bit towards the house, and we'll be actually picking the grade up here and just flattening this area out. So it'll be a nice flat yard, more or less, when we're done. Cause this 94 contour will connect, and that's all what this area is here as well.
Did that make you a massive?
No.
I know, that,
Nope.
would get, just trying to change the flows. Yeah, it's 92, 94.
Right, there's that
It's only
dip right
two-
here.
Yeah, it's only a
and then-
2-foot dip.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, and it'll be less when we're done.
and when are you gonna do this?
This probably won't be done till springtime, yeah.
So you don't need a season
after
or
April
anything like that?
15th.
Yeah, I don't see that being a problem unless we have a catastrophic failure, which is not the situation right now, so.
Okay.
Did you say silt fence and
Hay bales.
hay bales? Okay.
Well, silt fence.
Or sock. Which
Silk
do we?
sock.
Yeah, I think for this one, a sock would be fine.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
a silk sock's
That's why
fine.
I'm asking. So just put the sock at the, you said at the 94 con,
Yep.
at 15 feet either side, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
around it,
Yep.
so surrounding the area of work.
okay,
Do you know where we're talking
I
about?
do. Yep.
okay. Limit of excavation, okay. Work after 4:15, okay.
Anyone here on this, just out of curiosity? No one cares about septics on 114? All right, any further discussion?
Well, anything else from anybody, or are we all happy?
Okay.
Nope.
All right, then I'll accept the motion.
All right, I'll make a motion to, what am I, approving or closing? Closing, approving.
Mom, is it an emergency?
Approving,
I'll make a motion to approve the 114 Washington Street RDA septic system
I'll gi-
installation
I'll give it to you, I'm just
repair.
in a meeting right now, so I'll call you back after
Second
the
that one.
meeting, okay? Okay, bye.
He seconded.
Sorry.
Fred beat you to it.
I waited on you.
Appreciate that. All in favor?
wait a minute.
You gotta learn shorthand there, Mike.
Yeah, well, sure.
Missing Julie
That's
right
right.
now.
Well, but
Chair delegates.
I don't trust anybody except my own.
Whoa,
That's fine by me.
well, I didn't need to take notes.
Yep. Feeling the love there.
Except you.
Yeah, really, ouch.
All right, so we got the motion to approve the septic repair
Mhm.
with conditions of
So it's-
erosion control at 114 Washington Street.
Work not to commence till after April 15th unless there's some.
Well, actually,
Once the shit goes
this,
down.
I
What?
Once the shit
believe
goes
that
down.
under the bylaw, the riverfront area is not covered under the seasonal waiver, but I'm not 100% sure of that, so I would have to look. So we won't include that in the motion, but we can always put that in our letter, since this is a letter permit.
Okay. And erosion control to be at the 92-foot marker
Yeah.
and 15 feet
Yeah.
on either side.
94.
94, I'm sorry, yep.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain, unanimous.
Start digging.
Thank you.
Bye.
No,
April
not until April
15th.
15th.
Maybe.
Unless the shit goes down. Sorry, couldn't help myself. It's just so appropriate. Is my mic on?
All right,
Okay. Was it fun?
next hearing is for
I did the
180 rear Center Street. This is a notice of intent, Groveland notice of intent.
We're over by the school, you know, Center Street Auto, and then the Tuesday night, it's
Yeah,
behind.
down.
That's why it's 180
While
rear.
Pat's setting up, I'll just introduce myself. It's Mary Rimmer from Rimmer Environmental Consulting.
Do we have,
Um,
did,
that, representing Thomas and Kristen Zarella, who are the applicants, and property owner Russ Dickinson is that as well. And the project attorney is Mark Glovsky, and you know Thad Berry, I believe, from ASB Designs, project engineer. And we were before you last month for an ANRAD on this property, and we did receive an order of resource area delineation, so all of the wetland boundaries have been walked and are reviewed and approved at this point, which makes it a lot easier. But if you recall, and I'll just refresh your memory on some of the resources on the property. This is about a 19-acre parcel, and Argilla Brook flows through the parcel right through here. There is the existing access is from to, a couple of conditions, one of which was that all erosion control barriers be removed upon completion of the project. And the other one was to submit for their approval a turtle protection plan. And we submitted a draft, and we are waiting to hear back from them on that. But the turtle protection plan, you may be familiar, maybe you've had those for other projects, mostly how to avoid impacts to turtle nesting and turtle activity during construction and following construction. I'd be happy to describe some of those measures if you'd like. But the main project is expansion and renovation of an existing equestrian facility. The project includes expansion of the existing barn. This is the existing stable here. So there'll be additional stalls put in here, and then some of the stalls that are in the existing facility will become storage, and there's an apartment for caretaker proposed on the second story. And this is just a blow up of that same area. So this is the existing barn, this layout here, and then this is the addition here. The green areas are proposed paddocks, and this is a proposed exercise ring round pen here, and this is a sand ring, an outdoor riding ring here.
There's paddocks already there though on this side, aren't there?
There
The
are
first two?
paddocks all across here, and all throughout here, and they're shown on the plans in light gray. We have some copies of the plans. We also have an aerial
Oh, I can see that.
of the property showing this is the existing facility. You can see the extent of
Here's the earth.
existing clearance on the property.
It's a lot of
If we
earth.
go back to this sheet, we've got a roadway proposed access from Center Street. The existing access is not available. It's not on the
Don't like it.
lot itself, but it does require crossing of some wetland in this location.
Mm-hmm.
So we are crossing at the narrowest point of the wetland. We've oriented the road in a way to minimize impacts to potential turtle habitat, and we're proposing replication of
Mm.
wetland impacts of 1.5 times greater than the actual impact. So these two blobs on either side here are estimated areas to propose for replication. We have a detailed replication plan in the notice of intent. Includes plantings, this grading, the sequence for construction and protection of the wetland adjacent to the replication areas during construction. There's a small section of stream that that this section of the driveway crosses, and that is proposed to contain a box culvert, 4x4 box culvert. The stream is about 3 feet in width. Box culvert will be wider so as not to impinge on the flow at all. It meets the stream crossing standards for DEP. It'll have natural bottom to encourage wildlife movement through there. This is 250 feet or so of the driveway is paved because of the culvert and because of the sensitivity of the crossing area, so that we don't have a lot of material moving into the wetland during plowing and that kind of thing. The remainder of the driveway and access turnaround here is gravel. And there's some gravel parking areas in front of the facility here. So this is the sand ring here, a small portion of which is in the buffer zone, just this corner right here, and corner of the building right here, and this portion of the driveway is within the buffer zone to wetland resources. The ring will be surrounded by at least 8 inches of barrier around it, containing the footing, and to prevent the sand riding ring from becoming an attractive nuisance to nesting turtles. They don't have turtles actually nesting in the riding facility there. And the paddocks have been laid out in a way so that they're large enough so that they will be able to be maintained in grass. So the intended is that they'll be pasture, they'll be forage in the paddocks themselves, so they're not trod down and become muddy. This is the architect's view of the paddocks. They'll be sprinklered to maintain the grass, and horses will be rotated in and out of them so that seasonally so that they don't trample too much of the grass. So it's intended to be maintained in that way. There are all the work is at least 25 feet from the border vegetated wetland, in most cases much greater than that. A lot of the paddocks, as you mentioned, are already, this area here is in the buffer zone, but most of that is already paddock as well. There is a little bit of clearing in the buffer zone here and here for these two, this paddock and this round ring here. What else can I tell you? There's stormwater management that's proposed, really bad, you can describe that a little bit?
Yeah, what we've done is, as far as for the roadway, we've broken the roadway up into very small drainage areas, and we've provided what I would call, grass swales, retention areas. So when the runoff runs off on either side of the road, it's gonna have to pass through drainage swales, vegetated, it'll go through a series of catch basins with sumps prior to being discharged into the wetland. As for infiltration, the entire building, there's gonna be a 4-foot wide grit strip for the runoff to be captured and infiltrated directly into the ground. In this particular area here, where we have gravel, I have another BMP in order to trap anything. It actually contains the 100-year storm. So at the 100-year storm, nothing will overflow beyond the basin, which will help trap and infiltrate the stormwater runoff as well.
So we've proposed this as the driveway crossing as a limited crossing, limited project under the wetland protection regulations. And because there's not really any other feasible means of access to this property now. So, we maintain that all the regulations, all the performance standards in the riverfront area. We're only at 10% elevation for riverfront area. And I think that's it for, at this point. I'd like to, I'm sure you have some questions and we'd be happy to answer them.
How much of the building is in the wetlands? Like, I didn't hear what
The
the,
only portion that's in wetland is this red hatched area right here, and that totals.
That's the driveway.
oh, I'm sorry, the buffer.
2,197
That's the
square
driveway.
feet.
And what about the buffer? What is that buffer that is in the, where the building is and the,
So,
Yeah.
Yep, this is the, this is 200-foot riverfront.
200, okay.
Yep.
Do we have a copy of
And
that
over here,
map?
yeah, we can blow that up for you. It's that way. So that's the 200-foot riverfront area that comes through this point here. The buffer zone is here. And it
100
comes,
foot.
yep. So, except for the crossing, and most of the structures, the buildings, everything's outside the buffer zone.
And where is it on the side having to do with a lunging circle?
So this is a round pen they use for exercising, for lunging, flat area that, especially for new horses, fresh horses that are coming in, or horses that just require extra exercise.
No, where's the
Oh, I'm sorry.
lines? Where are the
Where are
lines?
the
I know what it
lines?
is.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, yeah, in this area, this is the buffer zone here, so that's entirely within, this is the 25-foot setback right here.
Yeah.
So it's, this paddock and this round pen are
Everything's in.
within between 25 and 100 feet from that.
Right.
And how much is within the 75-foot no-bill?
It's
Well,
it's
it's
100,
It's
100
foot.
100-foot no build.
100-foot no-bill or
Yeah.
75?
100.
100.
Okay.
So
It's
the-
commercial unless they go for a agricultural.
No,
exempt.
there is there's no agricultural exemption on the bylaw.
It's commercial.
Your bylaw references the same agricultural, rules as the state, regulations. So, I think that the pastures, the paddocks may qualify for agricultural, because they're providing forage
Well-
for livestock, but
I would dispute that because I'll read you the regulations from 9.3. it says, no paddock shall be installed within 100 feet of any resource area
Yeah.
described in section 2. Commercial, institutional, industrial structures and associated parking should not be installed within 100 feet of any resource area, and manure shall not be stockpiled or stored within 100 feet. So, besides the specific reference to paddock, I think what you're planning on doing really isn't covered under our bylaws being exempt.
So we would be requesting waivers on that. We do have, and the commission just showed the alternative, okay, for this area here, to take into account some of that concerns that was raised at the site visit. We can, it's possible to move this over here, eliminate this paddock here, and put the round pen primarily in areas that are already
Taking
had.
all the wind right out of my sails.
Okay.
That's pretty much what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, so what we're proposing is, even though these two paddocks here are still within the buffer zone, they're within the footprint of existing, cleared paddocks, that's what they're used for now. And the same with this, area here, this would be.
It's a little further away from the 25-foot, which,
It's bumped up closer to the fire lane here. And, tightened up the grading, and we're further away from that 25-foot.
Yeah.
And within an area that's previously disturbed, and then this area here can be, left alone, not disturbed. We do need parking, and that we would have to get a waiver for the parking there.
yeah,
Can you turn it the same direction as the one you just put in? Should be, yeah,
So you want for DEP, this one?
yeah, can you put this
Oh,
one?
you wanted him
Same
there.
direction.
That's okay, that's no problem.
It's upside down.
I can get up.
Oh, like
No,
this is as if you're facing, from, Center Street.
So we're coming up the proposed driveway, Center Street's down here.
Yeah.
This would be the access, the turnaround area, so this would be, eliminating, this would still be, this is a tree.
Yeah, thank you.
I like that a lot better. I might ask that lower, larger paddock be shaved back a teeny bit. Yeah, like maybe, if I were,
Parking facilities.
if I had my druthers,
This way or-
if I had my
Yeah.
druthers, it wouldn't be getting quite as close here, it'd be like coming straight down and then.
But
maybe
she's
up
talking about the
just a
parking
teeny
area
bit.
being within
Yeah,
100
so,
feet.
Squaring it off a little bit there.
Well, a little bit.
100 feet's
here,
right by the house,
and
right by the
then-
existing building. It's right there.
I also have to decide where they're
Just a-
storing manure.
Every foot counts.
Why are they storing it?
I don't know.
But the parking
But
area
they
they're
have
talking is
to
within the
designate
100
an
feet
area
too,
for
and that's pretty
storage of
specifically.
manure.
Right.
No, I'm saying it's pretty specifically saying that there's no exception for that.
Well, you have a waiver provisions in, so.
They would have to ask, they could ask for a waiver.
So I have here a written waiver request for, those portions, the parking lot and the paddock. The paddock, we've minimized it now, but, we would be looking for some relief for that, because I don't know if you consider that to be new paddock or existing paddock. It's really gonna be an improvement over existing conditions, because existing conditions, they're pretty much unvegetated, or except, well, they're growing in a little bit now, but they're pretty
Sweet.
much unvegetated now. So it would be, these areas would, except for the fencing, are still vegetated, they're not structures, or permanent structures or anything. But, I understand that we'll still be needing to
And the
discuss
unpaved,
it later.
the unpaved parking is gonna be gravel, it's gonna
Gravel.
be,
Right.
and that's gonna be refreshed.
Yeah, we have a maintenance program.
Okay.
That it's
Part of
attached with,
the- yeah.
attached with, the project data report that outlines the, maintenance for the whole facility, actually.
And he says there's gonna be little swales to prevent
Yeah.
runoff and.
Exactly. Take for instance, in this area here, everything's graded to this low area here. And then everything flowing here starts to be captured in this swale.
You got
to a
little-
sedimentation area,
Yep.
catch basin.
Yep,
Then that overflows down here and continues to another sedimentation area, catch basin. So there's a series, a train of events that happen as things move down and progresses.
so when we get one of the 100-year storms that we've had 3 of in the last 20 years,
100 feet.
it's built for that, it's designed to handle,
Yeah, one of the things that we looked at when we did this, and we made sure that we broke down this roadway into very small village areas. And when you look at the 100-year storm event, it's like 1 cubic feet of runoff in a 100-year storm event, peak,
cubic foot,
cubic foot.
that's like 8 gallons.
Yeah, that's at the peak of the storm, because the areas are so small, and that's the best way to do it. And also the best way to do it is obviously under the low impact design requirement under the stormwater regulations that we're complying with, is to use roadway side drainage and not curb and gutter.
And what does the other side look like? You got a bunch of paddocks on the north side.
Yep.
This is road tracks.
That's the overall one. And up in sort of the northwest corner there, yeah, they've rotated, their north is this way now.
Right.
So to preserve orientation, it's more like that. And
This is
is
your
the,
buffer zone coming right through these paddocks right there. So, and this is an alternative.
oh,
layout.
good. You painted that one also. I think I talked too much at the sidewalk.
I know it's still, so we're still a tiny bit, that's it, because of the shape of the buffer zone, it doesn't make sense for the shape of the paddocks.
Right.
Linear fencing,
You're trying to
but
optimize.
yeah, but this is your buffer zone here. So instead of it going right through the middle of those, we've completely reconfigured those 3 paddocks to look like this before. And pulled it, especially back, this one here,
Yep.
it's extending there.
And we aligned these paddocks so that it lined up with the existing riding path.
There's a
which is-
trail right now that
It
goes
goes-
right through there.
So this area, this movement follows the existing path.
You guys aren't gonna let me be stormy at all, are you?
And this is just as a note, the applicant, wants to, plant a row of new trees and
Screen.
evergreens around the entire, site, including along the easement and along this area here.
And at the entrance, along the right side of the driveway, to screen this property here.
The other point that, like, we point out is that
The
there's
lynching thing
a
in the paddocks on the other side.
hodge area.
That's what I'm kinda curious.
Shows you out in the field that is actually cleared, kind of used, for the existing operation that would be basically, that area is 14,000 square feet, and that will be basically brought back to its natural condition. So this whole area that's been impacted, cleared, trees and so forth, will basically be brought back with
So
vegetation.
we're proposing essentially to mitigate this buffer zone as a compensation for the intrusions that we're unable to avoid.
Why can't the paddocks and lunging thing that are on this side of the building be moved to the other side, just out of curiosity? I mean, like, I know you're trying to optimize your space, but the other side of the building is, why can't those be moved out of it?
Well, it's more in numbers, James, because there's going to be 20 to 25 horses, and there are only 12 turnout areas that are proposed. We need to be able to have enough for at least half-day turnout for the animals, so they're trying to get as many separate turnout areas as possible.
And where's the manure being stored again?
It's gonna be on this side of the, in the building, and it's basically 30-yard dumpster. And what we're gonna have it is compressed into the ground, concrete walls, so that when they come out with the wheelbarrows, they'll be able to, gross, but roll it up and dump into the dumpster along this side and this side to properly fill the dumpster, so that there won't be any spillage off to the
Contained,
side.
it's all contained.
It's all contained.
And that's outside of the buffer zone,
Yeah.
completely.
There's a little bit of
And the
a,
buffer zone's right here. So it's outside.
That's a 100-foot buffer?
Yes,
Okay.
right here.
it's also outside, the dumpster itself is outside of 200 foot.
This talks about 100-foot. Manure shall not be stockpiled or stored within 100 feet of any resource area described in section 2, except for the 100-foot buffer areas. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't mention rivers.
No.
Okay.
It's also, just, when we met with National Heritage, we told them that we would put the dumpster outside the 200 foot. which
Okay,
we did.
yeah, okay. Where does it go after that, just out of curiosity? I realize that's not part of our jurisdiction.
Well, actually, it's, considered agricultural waste, so it has to go to the facility that composts it.
Okay,
So it basically, by the agricultural, it's taken to a compost facility.
It's a
And there are a
resource.
number of places that.
Or it's
we
put
want-
on the field somewhere.
Or put on a field.
Nobody
There are a number
uses-
of places that actually.
Nobody uses horse manure.
Look to get this
Oh,
stuff.
sure.
So it's not something that's hard to get rid of.
yeah. I was just curious, again, not part of the jurisdiction, just,
As a matter of fact, I had a person who all stumps and said, I'm interested in.
all righty. So it sounds like we still have concerns about the driveway a little bit. John,
Yeah, well,
Or the parking, or-
DEP has some questions on it too.
So if I could address those two, I did submit a response to DP. They had two comments. One has to do with whether or not the project qualifies as a limited project. And it was filed that way because it believed that it meets the criteria under the state rules for a limited project. But even if it doesn't, even if it didn't, we're still under 5,000 square feet. So the limited project provision is intended to provide relief to an applicant that might exceed the normal performance standards for a project because of certain specific conditions. We don't need to fill or alter more than 5,000 square feet in this case. So we don't really, it's not necessary that it be, labeled a limited project. I think that it meets the criteria because of the access issues. But my point to DEP was simply, that's fine, but either way, here we are. And then their other point had to do with replication design, and I think they just maybe didn't even see the sheet that has we have a detail sheet, C12, that provides a blow-up of the grading, the shape of the replication areas, the planting plan, a detailed construction sequence and the notice of intent as well. So I just redirected them to that information because it was already on the plan.
so it sounded like a concern that really wasn't a concern.
I think that they just throw these out as comments that the woman who issued the comments is new within the last year, anyway, DEP, she's one of the circuit riders. They provide the information to the commission to consider
Okay,
as part of the deliberations. They're not necessarily gonna comment again or say that's adequate or anything. Once the comments go up on the website, they stay there. They don't get taken down no matter what we provide them. But just to close the loop on it, I did submit a response. I can provide a copy of it for your record as well.
Sure, that would be great, thank you.
I'm still unclear why we can't move the lunging thing, which doesn't exist in the current horse facility that's there, onto the other side. I understand you need to, or trying to maximize.
Sandring here?
Yeah, moving that thing over to the other side. I understand you're trying to maximize what you can use out of the space, but I don't see, there's not one of those things in the current
Right.
horse facility in,
Thank you.
you know,
Did you wanna address that, Kristen?
yeah. I mean, it's not, there isn't one there, and that's it was a current use is It's a horse stable, it's not as big, but it wasn't there before.
And
I'm sorry,
it's just an area, rather than using the existing riding ring to
Thank you.
run, you set aside a separate area. It's really not used very often. It's used for horses that need additional exercise. Usually if they've been on medical leave, and you're bringing them back. And we're just trying to use the same footing as we would use in the riding ring. But I think by moving it, doesn't it now, isn't it now outside of,
To the other side of the building, it is outside of
no,
the.
no, no, to the other plan,
That's still
It's
inside the
entirely
100.
In an area that's already.
already being
Yeah.
used. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the buffer zone comes
Right.
almost
What?
up to the back of the building there. You know, you can't
What are
get
you
out
looking
of the
for?
buffer zone, but you can see
Well,
this is a
they're marking 25
existing
feet
paddock
here,
right here.
Was it ever paddock?
What's within-
So
so
it uses a paddock?
figure it's gotta go 100 feet after
I don't
that.
think you
In the
saw
building
anything from
somewhere.
this project previously,
Right.
you know.
We're not here to endorse something that wasn't done properly the first time either. I'm not trying to be a
No, no, I understand what you're saying.
pain, but,
Yeah.
Right.
That, you know, that, it would require minimal clearing, but it would be a change in the
Minimal.
current condition from basic dirt paddock to
Everything's
sand.
minimal.
There was ever.
My name's Rich Waller, I'm from Whitestone Village. I'm trying to visualize where the complex is, that over here?
So,
Yeah.
here, maybe the area will be less.
The answer is more or less.
Right here.
Yeah, so here,
And that's the
you're up in
railroad,
here,
proposed railroad.
this is the railroad, easement, the, Mass Electric
Yeah.
easement, yep. And this is the facility right here.
Yeah, if I could go back to that previous one. Now, the tree line is for the, here's the rail, the Mass Electric.
Yep.
So the tree line's here. Now, I assume there's other people living, where is it, right here?
Down here.
Now, why would the tree line go up further? Why wouldn't it extend further?
This is the.
This is Russ's, owner's lot, so,
It's commercial down there.
Oh,
commercial property there.
This
That's
here.
the auto body,
okay.
auto
right here.
repair,
Right.
Very good.
it's not a residence.
Different aesthetics.
Is it?
The whole lot?
The whole front, yeah.
So all this would be, you know, this is the wetland and all this would, will be forested on this side here.
Are there any other questions from residents? A lot of you here. No? Okay.
All right, so,
Actually, one other point, in the waivers, I was requesting relief from, the seasonal restriction work, because they did want to try to, there's some urgency to get this under construction as soon as possible, because the animals have already, they're ready to be moved, so they're under some time crunches to try to get this, constructed as soon as possible. Winter conditions for, constructing the road are sometimes favorable because of the ground conditions. So I was gonna ask that you consider, some relief from the winter conditions as well, for April 15th, I think is your cutoff for work in a resource. You'd have to cross that wetland. It's possible they can do other work on the property and wait until April to cut that road in, but there may be some favorable times to do it, and so I wanted to at least bring it up and discuss that with you.
If the winter term is no different than it is right now, and it's not cold enough and the ground freezes, that's the best time to probably clear and take the trees out. We probably wouldn't touch this road until the springtime, but what we'd like to do is get this area cleared.
That's all outside.
That's not our jurisdiction, yeah.
Any
That's not.
issue there.
Go right ahead.
Go for it, yeah.
Yep.
I'll borrow my chainsaw.
Yeah. So maybe with that in mind, and I wasn't aware of the construction sequence, that maybe we don't need that waiver for this area.
Well, you'd be cutting down trees, quite a few trees for the road there.
Yep,
And I see the same argument,
it's a benefit to it,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's just better, the ground's frozen.
Sure, if you got a skidder in there and you're
You
dragging.
actually create less of a mess than
Right,
you do with the
right,
twin.
right.
So
You got
it's
some
just-
big trees there, and it's not
Yeah,
gonna
so it's a
be,
better.
it's not a matter of putting them on your shoulder and
Right.
dragging them out.
Right. There's some firewood. we need.
Well, I have a wood stove, but, oh wait, we're on the record.
All right. Did you submit the green cards?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, so commissioners, the question I have is, do we want to have a peer review on this?
I think with the scope of this project, that makes abundant sense, given what they're doing, in particular with crossing an active stream and swapping out resource land, that having a peer review, this is an ideal place for it.
Yeah.
It's not just replacing or, it's doing a much different use of the site than is currently there, in terms of expanding the size and changing the direction of access to the site through it, and it's not just a question of skirting it, you're crossing over it, so. I don't know, what do you think?
I like it. How quickly can that be done? Because I don't want to slow them down too much.
Do I want to come in by horseback, or?
Well, that might reveal a bias.
Where are you in your planning board filings?
We've already had a peer review from the planning board, received their comments. There's nothing from their peer review that we can't incorporate into the drawings. We were waiting for tonight to incorporate any revisions we're going to make, like the ones we just showed you. I need to review those with the peer review person. Right now, we were going to go forward and meet with their peer reviewer, TEC, next week, go over all their comments, incorporate the changes that we showed you today with their comments, and proceed back to the planning board on the 22nd.
The planning board peer review, what was the focus of that person?
Stormwater management, drainage, culvert crossing for, providing adequate drainage and for the culvert design, and stormwater management as far as operation and maintenance goes. So it was a pretty comprehensive review. You can obviously get his review comments.
Do they have expertise in wetland protection and dealing with riverfront areas? I saw their areas of expertise, and they don't list those things, but I'm assuming maybe,
I think they sub that work out.
sub it out.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that potentially could speed things up if, we just use, you know, piggybacked on, TEC rather than have a separate person do it. But, I don't know, if they're gonna sub it out anyway, it may not make much difference.
Has it been done already?
No, not,
Has it been done already?
yeah, they already did it,
They already did their review, we could.
They do reviews for a number of communities, so they're set up to bring in somebody, they can do that.
Yeah, it may be helpful to us in the sense that they could get somebody in and then we can do that.
Single entity.
Yeah.
You know, it may help.
Instead of dealing with a bunch of different, yeah.
well, what we would want is to be able to, you know, go out and at least have either one of us or our agent go out into the field with them, you know, bring up our questions and concerns, and then have that person come and meet with us at our, you know, and potentially could be done before February.
That would be the question, is if we could, identify that entity, that company, that person, and we said, well, here it is, and introduce you to via an email, and set up a time, because it's already been staked out, you know, would that be acceptable?
Could be.
In principle.
Yeah.
In principle.
So, what are our feelings? Do we want to, would we rather have our own, person working directly for us, or do we want to piggyback on, the planning board's company?
Well, I think we should evaluate piggyback. I don't think we wanna make a blind decision right now.
Yeah, but-
Easy blind decision is we get our own, but in, you know, just to make things easier and faster and it's worth looking into.
What do you want to do, how will we evaluate it?
They need to identify someone who's going to specifically deal with the concerns that we have as a commission.
Yeah.
And then they need to come to us and tell us, and then they can piggyback on the report that was already done, but show us that, how they're addressing specifically what we have concerns about.
Yes, yes.
Where the wetlands have already been identified, that takes one big issue off the table
Right,
for them.
right.
A lot of the questions that you're having, that TEC engineers can answer as well, is, if you want someone specifically to look at the replication design or something like that, then they might bring in somebody just for that piece.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to figure out how to not have this wait to make a decision until February. If we could get the decision made and get the whole thing done, so we could potentially close it out in February, rather than have to wait until March.
Yep.
Because I'm sure that's what they would prefer.
Well, I'm gonna be home on Friday, if you wanna see if we can.
Well, I guess what we need is to see something from,
You wanna review the current one?
from tech and see what they're
Get a proposal
proposing.
from them, right?
Yeah, and then,
Do we have a proposed waiver in front of us either?
no, we don't.
Okay, so we're not doing anything without that,
Right.
even looking at that.
Right, but
So-
they could do that between now and
Right.
February. Oh, you do?
How about that?
Thank you.
Yep. Do you all, I have copies for everyone if you'd like.
Sure.
Thank you.
Oops, there's two there.
So I'm not so concerned about, about doing the actual visit to the site. It's more making the decision to pick somebody. You know, how can we do that? You know, if if you want to agree tonight to, that we want a seasonal waiver done, and we are willing to hire, sign on with this company, as long as they meet our requirements, then we can do that, if that's okay with everybody.
That's a seasonal waiver for going,
No,
doing
no,
the.
no, I'm talking about the, peer review.
You said
If-
seasonal waiver.
You
If,
did, yes, that's what I'm curious, seasonal waiver, what are we doing on the seasonal waiver, you just said that.
well, I don't know what. No, I'm talking about the peer review, nothing to do
Oh,
with the
okay.
seasonal
Alright, okay.
waiver.
Fair enough.
I'm saying that on the peer review, if we get a, proposal and it looks to meet our requirements, then we'll move forward with it.
Okay,
If it doesn't, or if I feel that it doesn't meet our requirements, then we'll have to wait until February to proceed with somebody else.
okay,
Why do we have to wait till February?
Well, because then I'm gonna have to get something from somebody else. I can get someone else to give me a proposal if you wanna do that
Well,
too.
I think we wanna set that up
Right.
as a Plan B, yeah.
Who did we just use for the
Yeah,
last one?
Mark Jacobs,
There
he
you go,
can do
I
it.
would use
Yeah,
them.
I mean, we have our
Plan B.
milestone thing
he may actually
worked
work with
out.
them actually too, I mean, these guys, how many specific people are there that do wetland and stuff?
Yeah. So, maybe what I should do is send you, Mary, a specific bullet point of what we want, and then you can have them respond to it.
Yep.
And if it looks okay, I can do the same thing with Mr. Jacobs.
It sounds like you're just looking for wetland and river plain packs, essentially, for the
Yeah.
proposed design.
Yeah, I mean, the replication area,
Replication, right?
somewhat of the riverfront stuff, the placement of the paddocks, and should we grant these waivers or not, few things like that.
Okay.
Right.
And the turtle jumping facility.
It's
Yeah.
Turtle ramp.
Not that you can train them to jump.
We expand like that, it's
Go over to the other side of the
Underground
building.
Railroad.
Well, this could be a complicated motion.
Well, we don't need to make a motion for this,
Okay.
just
Continue.
make a
We're
motion
continuing,
for
yeah.
peer review, that we wanna have a peer review, and Mike will write up the requirements and send them to, both parties and make a decision on it, and we'll hire tech if they meet the requirements.
And that's on the motion.
Yeah, well, you can repeat it if you want.
So motion.
So moved.
I think
Seconded.
that works, right?
Yep.
Mr. Lawyer, sir, does that work?
I'm fine with it for now, yeah.
Okay,
For
good.
now.
You also have to
Okay.
continue it.
Yeah.
You wanna do those as
What's the
separate?
hearing date in February?
The 13th.
13th.
Do you wanna ask,
I might not.
what?
It's like Valentine's Day.
No, it's the day before. Yeah, so you
Nice try.
also wanna do a motion to continue the hearing?
Are we doing a separate motion to continue the hearing?
Yes.
Yeah, two separate ones.
Two separate ones.
Yeah.
We're still waiting for him to finish writing.
He's gotta learn
That's weird,
shorthand.
it's weird, it doesn't address going across the stream.
Make the motion.
It's only for
All right, so we have the motion, who,
I
Heather.
seconded.
Heather seconded.
My motion.
Terry moved.
I made a motion.
Heather
He moved.
Seconded that motion.
All right, so we got a motion on the floor, any discussion on this? So, just to summarize, I'm gonna write up a brief set of requirements, send them to both, Mary Rimmer and Mark Jacobs, and as long as, the, planning board's peer reviewer can meet our requirements, then we will proceed with using them for the peer review. If not, then we'll use Mr. Jacobs. Correct?
Correct.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, so now we want to make a motion to continue to February 13th.
Motion to continue this hearing to February 13th.
For a second?
Yep, I second
Any
So for
discuss-
anybody interested, next phase is about a month from now.
All right. All in favor of continuing to February 13th, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
And 7:30 start time, so you don't need to be here at 7.
Thank you all for coming, by the way.
All right. No, not,
Second.
no, almost, but not quite.
You guys missed it. Nobody said it.
Oh, so I'm gonna make a, we're not done yet.
I did the planning board, we should be on a couple of days, so there's no.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
cool.
thanks.
That helps you guys.
Yes.
Thanks.
So I'm gonna motion to close the hearing portion of the meeting at 8:33.
Second.
Just for that, I'm not coming next week.
You cannot come next week as long as you come next month.
Next meeting.
Sure, you have, Mike, this is right on.
Yeah, that's enough.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You second this email.
Now, let's see. All right, so now we're at the open discussion portion of the meeting. No, that was old business. Does anyone besides me have anything to discuss?
Please, Mike.
All right, do the minutes.
Yeah, there's no minutes because Julie's not here. and
Nothing?
I had some changes that should be made, so.
Excellent.
Okay, I just wanted to talk about our,
Can you just wait
oh,
until they exit?
oh,
Because
okay,
I can't really hear what you're saying.
sure, sorry.
What?
Are spectators too rowdy?
Yeah, sometimes. Heather can't hear.
You know, Flash, really no interest anyway, so,
Yep.
more on the no interest side.
You feel like you're at home?
No. Does it matter if No. I have a piece of tape over my webcam.
Okay. I don't have a webcam.
Well, you gotta have a webcam, because every once in a while you need to
Yeah,
video stuff. but,
Okay.
Like meetings. Thank you.
yeah.
I was 2 years into owning an iPhone before I knew you could do a video on it.
Oh,
So I'm not exactly on top of this stuff.
there you go, 1 megabyte of storage on that
I
thing?
got the iPhone X now. I'm all excited.
It's huge. I'm still working on a 5. The cheap one, not the nice one.
This is the cheap one of the X's. So.
All right,
Okay.
so, I wanted to briefly discuss our 3 Community Preservation Act proposals that I'm putting forward next week at the Community Preservation Committee meeting on Thursday. So, the first is a proposal for open space and recreational trails preservation. You know how we've been getting the help of the 4th graders at Bagnell School for the past 10 years almost. They,
College
yeah, really, probably.
High school.
They,
College.
I got the idea to help them with some of the funding that they need to do this. You know, they hire educators, they hire consultants, they take bus trips to any property they go to. And they've done quite a bit at Meadow Pond, Town Forest, and some work at Center Street.
What are you missing?
This isn't gonna subsidize their cake parties, is it?
No,
Okay.
no. So, what this is gonna do is, so I put together a proposal that will be half funded by CPA funds and half funded by private foundation funds. And so the CPA can pay for trail work, they can't pay for educational work. They can't pay for anything educated, it has to be something that physically is produced. So trails fit. So this proposal is gonna be $30,000 for 3 years worth of trips to all of our smaller conservation areas for trail, new trail parking, planning, design, anything to do with trails. And also that couple of 2 or 3 other pilot projects that they can do
Yeah.
on open space purchased property, which would include 2 parcels in Meadow Pond and the Center Street properties. So they're gonna do some pilot projects on restoration of areas and
Center Street?
tree, forest management kind of things. So they need some consultants for that. So I'm excited about that because they've done so much for us that this will kind of give back a little bit to them to help them to continue to do more. So that's number 1. Any questions on that one?
Yeah,
Sounds great.
30,000 sounds like a lot of money. What's?
For 3 years though.
Well, you're paying for buses, you know, bus trips, those are expensive. That's probably the biggest cost.
And that fits
bus
on,
trip.
that's part of trail
Yes,
maintenance.
yes,
you're
because they're
them
getting them
from
there, right.
where they
Right.
are to the trails.
Right. And then the other parts are, you know, the consultants and then all the equipment and lumber and anything they have to build bridges. or-
Chainsaws. and
Yes, any equipment,
backhoes and-
For
supplies.
fourth grader with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
That's
the parents,
exciting.
the
chainsaws
parents
are 17.
do the heavy duty lifting on that.
4th grader with a chainsaw.
11.
That's why I was there.
No.
How old are you in fourth grade?
10, right?
And 5 years. 9.
It's amazing
You
what
start
they
kindergarten
do.
in 4
Oh,
or
yeah.
5, so you just had 5, is what I always do.
That's why I came up with 10. He came up with 9. It's close.
Unless they were held back a whole lot, so.
That's why I go with 5.
All right. The second project is accessibility at VZ Park. So the main building at VZ Park is not completely handicap accessible. So far, we have done, we paid for an evaluation of the park to see what projects need to be done and the costs to make it accessible, fully accessible. And there's kind of 2 phases. So this CPA proposal will fund the first phase. It's all the small stuff that needs to get done. It's about $26,000 worth of includes things like signage, railings on some of the walkways and stairs.
Ramps.
No ramps. Door handles.
No widening,
No.
Widening gets expensive.
Yeah.
yeah.
It does include some work on one of the, work on 2 of the bathrooms to make them, different changes that, one of them needs to be actually widened.
Yeah.
Fully, a wall needs to be
There you go.
moved on that one.
Is there handicap parking up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, up top.
So that'd be the first phase, so under CPA, we're applying for $26,000. The second phase involves a ramp and
There we go.
an elevator. That one, I'm not proposing that now. That one, I'm working with the town planner to address, she's working on a proposal to address all of the town's accessibility issues. This would be rolled into that, and we would apply for a grant from the state. The state has other grants available for this kind of work. So, you know, because that could end up being about $100,000 plus project. But this'll make the buildings
Downstairs.
pretty well accessible, except for the Great
Great
Hall
Hall.
and Pingree basement below that. Any questions on that one?
Sounds like a worthy cause.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no,
Put aside some money for upkeep and maintenance and inspections.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not wrong.
But this is the first phase of it anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
Is that the three or is that
No,
one and two?
that's 1 and 2. The third one is a potential open space purchase for a small property. So I don't expect this to be very expensive, and
Where is it?
it may be
Strawberry
limited to the
Where are
price
you?
for open space
Oh, it's not
anyway, so it's gonna be
Alternative.
fairly low cost. I'd rather not go into where it is right now,
What?
but suffice it to say,
Wanna
by
play on it
next
first.
week, I kinda need to know if that's gonna work or not. I don't have a final agreement yet with the person selling it, so we'll see.
Does it fit in with existing open space?
Yes. Oh, yes.
It's a logical
Yes.
piece of the puzzle.
Yes, absolutely,
Complimentary.
yes.
With
That's
an
the
E,
main
not an I.
reason why I'm interested in it.
Can I put my tent on it?
With an E, not an I. I just learned that today. I did.
Well, here's your reinforcing lesson.
It's only 1 to 10.
So I'll let you know how that goes with the Community Preservation Committee. I should know probably by February 13th where we stand on all 3 of these. And I think that's all that I've
Better
got.
not be.
Any other items anybody has?
I have an item.
Yes,
I noticed that VC had some really cool programs. One was about an owl, and the other
Yes.
one was about coyotes. Is
yes.
this gonna continue? I know
Well,
I'm not a kid, but I wanna go to them. But I find out after the fact.
okay, so mark this on your calendar. The last Sunday in January is the Winter Festival.
What's
And,
what's
Is
that?
that the one that gets rained out every year?
no, I don't think so.
That's the Halloween one.
The Winter Festival has a lot of outdoor things, especially if there's snow on the ground.
That's what I meant.
But there's also indoor things. And I think that there is some animal program, special animal program
Bird
that
of
day.
prey, hopefully?
I don't think it's
or-
bird
oh,
of
okay.
prey, no. It's, what is it? I can't remember. Is
It
it
was pretty funny that
dog
he-
related or something,
It was
something?
coyote related just recently, and
Yeah,
you
that
know,
was
there's
the
been so many
library thing.
sightings.
The library did that at VZ Park, yeah. But this is supposed to be a really good program, and I can't remember.
That's on Thursday, the 31st?
No, Sunday,
Sunday, last Sunday.
the last Sunday, what
January.
is that?
Is it on their website?
26th.
27.
Is that between
I don't think it's on the website.
AFC
Could be.
Championship and the Super Bowl?
But yes, they coincide.
I think
It's gonna be a
supposed
big event.
Well, if you're not a football fan, then you wouldn't care anyway.
Right.
But, yes, check the VZ
Okay.
Park website.
There you go.
Great.
It should be up there if it isn't already, but it will be up there.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right.
Oh, we're
We're ready?
done.
All in favor?
Aye. See, we beat you.
No, I've.
We're already at the door.
I've trained the next generation.
The next
I'm die a happy man.